Hello students, good morning. Today we are discussing about interview, ninth class. This is from your 5th lesson, A Havoc of Flood, presented by Priyadarshini, ZPHS Girls, Shankarpalli, Rangareddy District. First we'll check the definition. An interview. An interview is a conversation between two or more people where questions are asked by the interviewer to get information or opinions from the interviewee. Majorly, these interviews are used in journalism, job appointments, etc. You can see these two pictures. The above one is in the journalism and the below one is that is in the job appointment interview. You can find the differences between these two photographs. Who involved in an interview? Let us see. Interviewer, interviewee. Interviewer, a person who asks the questions in an interview. Interviewee, a person who is questioned in an interview. Hope this is clear. Here the two characters definitely should involve in the interview. One is interviewer and the second one is interviewee. After definition and persons who involved in the interview, here are our basic features of an interview. In that, first one is listening. Interviewers must listen to what the participant is actually saying. The interviewer must listen what the interviewee is saying. Without listening, we can't frame the next question. So, this is the basic feature in an interview. And the second feature, ask questions to follow up and to clarify. It is an important an interviewer asks clarifying questions when they are confused. Here, interviewee gave some confusing answers, then the interviewer definitely should make it clear by asking the next questions. That's why here ask a question become a basic feature in an interview. And the third one is be respectful of limits. The interviewer can explore the experiences of the participant in a manner that is sensitive and respectful. They should not be probed in such a way that makes them feel uncomfortable. So, this basic feature, be respectful, is also very important when we are interviewing some personalities. Fourth one, be wary of leading questions. Leading questions like yes or no type or questions which suggest or imply an answer. It is preferable that interviewers ask open-ended questions like WH questions instead. For example, um, instead of asking, did experience make you feel sad? It would be better to ask, how did the experience make you feel? So, we can change the type of question here. And the fifth one is, don't interrupt. Don't interrupt. The participants should feel comfortable and respected throughout the entire interview. Thus, interviewers should avoid interrupting participants whenever possible. So, when the interviewee explaining the answer to the question, we should not interrupt. Why? Because they are giving the particular topic information. If we interrupt that particular topic, it goes or it may vary from the topic. So the last basic feature of an interview, make the participant feel comfortable. The interviewer should create an environment that make the participant feel comfortable. In the comfortable situation, any person will be free to explain their views or ideas about the particular topic. Types of interviews. So based on the features, here the interviews are divided into four types. The first one is informal conversational interview. Second one, general interview guide approach. Third one, standardized open-ended interview. Fourth one, closed fixed response interview. So based on the situation and based on the persons, we have to choose which type of interview we have to take from the particular person. First one, informal conversational interview. See the details here. No predetermined questions are asked. In order to remain as open and adaptable as possible to the interviewer's nature and priorities. During the interview, the interviewer goes with the flow. Here you can see this picture. Here is an interview with some farmer. According to the form of view, the interviewer can change his questions to get the information which they want. So here in the last line you can observe the interviewer goes with the flow. By the answer of the interviewee, the interviewer can construct a question for the next information. Second, general interview guide approach intended to ensure that the same areas of information are collected from each interviewee. It provides more focus than the conversational approach, but still allows some freedom and adaptability in getting the information from the interviewee. Here, the same questions are asked to the different interviewees, and here the interviewer provides the freedom and adaptability in getting the information from the interviewee. So, the interviewee will feel free to express their views to the questions. Third one, standardized open-ended interview. The same open-ended questions are asked to all interviewees. This approach facilitates faster interviews that can be more easily analyzed and compared. Let's see it once again. The same open-ended questions are asked to all interviewees. You can see these type of interviews in the corporate offices. When they are testing in the group discussion, they will ask these type of open-ended questions. And also when we are in the classroom, the teacher will ask a question to all the students. Then only a few students will get the answer and they will speak out. Here the same thing will happen in the corporate offices. Then it will become easy to select the particular person in the interview. Here in the second sentences, this approach facilitates faster interviews that can be more easily analyzed and compared. So in the same way, in the corporate offices, or in the classrooms, we can identify the intelligent persons in that particular area. Fourth one, closed fixed response interview. See these two pictures. One is in multiple choice questions and second one is checklist. Let's see what is a closed and fixed response interview is. All interviewees are asked the same questions and asked to choose the answers from among the same set of alternatives. This format is useful for those not practiced in interviewing. Here the same questions, same checklist, same multiple choice questions will be given to the interviewees. So here the interviewee will not face any oral questions. In the last line you can see last sentence, this format is useful for those not practiced in interviewing. Then we'll move to the next one. After the types, here the steps involved in taking interview. First step, collect basic information and achievements of the person whom you are going to interview. This is a compulsory one. Why? Because without knowing basic information about a particular person, we can't take an interview perfectly. So, this is the first and most important step. Collect basic information and achievement of the person whom you are going to interview. And the second one, decide on the type of and purpose of interview. Previously we discussed the types of interviews. Here, based on the features of those interviews, we have to find out the type which will be adapted to take an interview for the particular person. So, in the second point, decide on the type and the purpose of the interview. Next, in the third one, prepare questions in order to collect information from the interviewee. So, without preparing the questions, we can't take the complete information about a particular person. Why? Because if we planned these questions before going to the interview, it will be very helpful to the interviewer. Fourth one, arrange the questions in a logical order. Here, arrange the questions in a logical order. Means, for example, if we are taking an interview from a sports person, if we ask the question, how many medals you got? Then, if the next question is, who is your coach in your childhood? That is not a logical order. So, first of all, we have to arrange the questions in a logical order. We have to ask the question first, that is, who is your childhood coach? Then, the second one, how many medals you got in your career? This is only for the example. And the last one, proceed to interview. Based on all these steps, we can have a perfect interview from a particular person. After knowing the definition, who involved in the interview, and the basic features of the interview, types of the interview, and the steps of the interview. Keep all these things in your mind, and here is a textual exercise. This is from your textbook. We'll read it. In the reading passage, one of the victims of the flood, a woman shared her sufferings with the flood relief team. On the basis of this, develop an interview by a news reporter. Now, could you please find out what is the type of interview he is going to take? Anybody? Of course, this is informal, a conversational interview. It is informal, a conversational interview. Why? Because here the woman is sharing her sufferings. She is sharing her sufferings. Here there is no particular questions will be prepared to take an interview from her. So in that informal and conversational interview, the interviewer goes with the flow. So by getting those answers, then the interviewer will prepare the next question. So this is called an informal or conversational interview. This will be takes place when we are preparing an interview for this question. Question: News reporter, could you tell me what had happened? Students, please go through the lesson thoroughly and find out what are the problems the woman faced in the floods. Here is my answer for the previous question. Interview: News reporter, could you tell me what had happened? Woman: Oh, it was dreadful. The night of 27th. Horrible. Downpour. Non-stop. We couldn't believe our eyes. Even multi-storied buildings were shaking. What about our mud shacks? News reporter: Has someone come to help you? Woman: Not immediately. As waters entered our small shaky house, I took my 4 children and ran for safety. News reporter: Could you easily find out a safe place? Woman: Yes, very close to my house. The road has a high side wall like structure which then stood above the flood waters. So we all stayed there. News reporter: How long did you stay there? Woman: It was for 2 long days in open, without food and water, only flood water and our tears. News reporter: Hasn't help reached you even then? Woman: Help in the form of rescue team in a fiber boat came to us. They took us to the nearby relief camp, gave us clothes and food. They promised to give money to repair my damaged house. News reporter: Even in your testing times you are so thankful and you think of their welfare. Great of you. May God bless you. So, this is an interview. Based on the lesson, I constructed my version here. Students, this is your major discourse. You will get 10 marks for this interview. Prepare well and practice developing interviews. Thank you. We'll meet in the next class.